And today we are bringing you our top 10 overrated books of 2016. Let's get to it.
How many did you say?
Well, we're each doing 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are we going in order? Because I don't have an order.
I don't either. We'll just do like whatever we think was just in general overrated.
Okay. My first?
Uh-huh.
Okay. So my first one is Heartless by Marissa Mayer. This was her Alice in Wonderland retelling. I thought that the characters were tropes and it was insta-love, and the best thing about that book was like the last page where she finally turns into the Red Queen or the Queen of Hearts. I don't remember. I can never get those straight.
Yeah.
So
you got it.
Yeah, I did not enjoy that at all.
Yikes. Great cover.
Yeah.
I like the cover. I haven't read it. Can't comment. My first book is Vasa in the Night by Sarah Porter. I feel like for a good 5 months there, this was the only book people were talking about whatsoever. And I really, really wanted to like this book. There were a lot of things about it that I did like. I thought it was really unique. But I found my most problematic thing was the pacing of the story and the main character's development. Also, for a book that's so weird, I kind of found it predictable. And, I think the author did herself a disservice by giving us that little introduction prologue, because then you immediately know what's going on. And I mean, that's obviously the point, because she's trying to orient you in this weird kind of scenario, but you were like, okay, that's who that is, and that's that's happening, and she's got to, save this guy, and it was over. And so what's the point of reading all that weirdness if you already are kind of figuring out the plot?
Yeah, it was just too much going on for me, and at some point I was over it. I was like, I don't care anymore. Yeah. And I don't even remember what happens in the end. I was like, I can't read this anymore. But I think her world building is good enough where I would read something by her again.
I agree.
Hopefully her editor can be like, look, you take this out and this and this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. The world building was definitely her strongest point.
Yep. Yeah. My next one is Truth Witch by Susan Dennard. I think I gave this a 4 last year, but I don't think it was worth the hype. Was it an okay fantasy? Sure. Was it worth all of that? No. I think there were other books that were way better than this book that didn't get the hype or the push by the publisher.
My second book is also Truth Witch. I agree. It was just very middle of the road, but they're promoting this book like it's, the next Sarah J. Maas novel. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that that's fair to the author community at large, that just because Sarah J. Maas is in fact your reading buddy and like your actual friend, that your book kind of is approached with the same level of promotion and excitement as her books. I would not like that. Like if my friend was this incredibly famous author, I would want to like stand on my own 2 feet, and I don't really feel like that's kind of happening here.
No,
but
you can definitely hear the influence of Sarah in her book.
So for that reason, like, I don't know who Susan Dennard is as an author. I don't know what her voice is. I feel like I had originally planned on reading book 2 in this series, but every time I see it, I'm like, you know what, no, I don't really want to read that right now. And it's about my least favorite character from the entire character list that she set up. The main character was really annoying and difficult to read about. It was like Selena 2.0. But without any of the redeeming qualities, TBH.
Selena Light.
Yeah. She can bend some truth, I guess. I don't know.
I think that's what she could do.
Yeah, she was the emotional string puller, truth.
I thought she could find lies. Oh.
Yeah, and she saw how people were connected to. No, that was her friend.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, I'm getting her friend mixed up with her. Either way, no. This book really is not worth it.
I don't think the second book got as much hype as the first one. I think people were over it.
Yeah.
At That's bad.
I mean, the first book. Okay, like, I like how they were promoting the book, where, like, you were, you know, categorized as a certain witch, and then, like, your blog hosted that thing. I thought that was kind of fun and cool, but
Sure.
that's about it. And that has nothing to do with the book.
No.
You know, so, go ahead.
My next one, oh, it's your turn.
Is it? Oh, yeah. No, well.
We
all right,
both
well,
had
I'll just go again.
Witch.
This one I might get some slack for, but The Raven King. This was a series finale, obviously, in the Raven Boys trilogy by Maggie Stiefvater. This book treated me like
Oh, God.
a friend that I had vested years of emotion into, only to be like, no, and walk away from that friendship, and that was it. They left me with nothing.
Oh,
I have
sad.
never in my life had such a disappointment with the last book of
And
the
that
series.
affected you tremendously, because now I cannot pay Elise to read certain book 3s.
Yep.
Because she's scared. Her best friend's gonna let her down. It's gonna take her boyfriend.
Yeah, it's gonna end my world. This book series to me was so important. Like, this was one of the first YA series that I read, and that changed my mind about what YA was and could be. Because I grew up not reading YA. I thought it was a stupid genre where all you read about was dumb romances and vampires and shit. And this book changed my mind single-handedly about what YA could possibly be. So, to have that happen, and then this book ends the way it did, it really was disappointing. And like Dawn said, now I read the end of, well, this is my next book, so I'll save that point, but I'm legit worried about ending series. I'm scared that it's just going to be like, Merp. So, there's a couple books that still have not been finished. Who knows when I'll get to. Anyway.
Alright. My next one is And I Darken by Kirsten White. That got a lot of hype, but that book was a bummer. That main character was all over the place. That book had no plot, and the love interest was dumb as hell. I don't understand why any of them liked him at all. And, I mean, you think you're gonna get this dark book about Vlad the Impaler's daughter? Not really. I think we saw one impaling. If I'm going to read a book about Vlad the Impaler, I want to read about impaling. A lot of it. Not one, like 7 at least.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, yeah. That's a good point.
That book was too damn big to be like that. So, sorry.
My next book, again, is a book 3, The Winter's Kiss. This one didn't disappoint me quite as much as The Raven King. I still felt like it was just not up to par with the rest of the series, and therefore is overrated. It was a lot more of the kind of military strategy, which I just didn't find interesting. I began this book reading about 2 people that I was really interested in hearing their story, and by the end of the book I was like, let's just get this over with. You know, that's not how you should send your reader off into the twilight of the world after your book. It started off well. It started off so well. I loved the first and second books.
No, I mean, the third book started off well.
Yeah, sorry, yes it did. But then, by the end I was kind of like, I just need the resolution.
Yeah. I'm a little bit more forgiving with Elise with final books. Like, if I love the first couple, that carries a lot of weight, even if the third book is bad, because everything that you hated about The Raven King and Winter's Kiss, I also hated about it. But I kind of, like, I give it a little bit of a reprieve because I love the other books.
I don't know. I genuinely wish I could do that. I hate that I will no longer recommend the Raven King series to people. Oh, absolutely not. No. Mm-mm.
I will.
Because I feel like I have wasted my time.
No.
Yes, I feel like everything I read was pointless.
Never.
That's how I feel.
Book 2 was amazing.
If a third book was, crappy, what's the point of reading the first 2? I mean, I don't know. I take back that statement because I am thankful for that experience that I had with the first 2 books in both series. They were very good. I just don't feel like the author really played to their strengths. and you just it just dampens the whole experience of the entire trilogy. You know, yes, each book in itself has its own strengths and weaknesses, but it's a series. You can't separate them from each other.
I didn't think Raven King, the end of it was, it didn't, like, I feel like, I mean, the whole point of the book is to find the Raven King, and I think when they find the Raven King, I was like, really, that's it? I will admit that. And there was a Henry character that didn't need to be there. And a little bit too many B references, whatever.
The third book was a weirdness.
But I would say 90% of the Raven King I enjoyed. And it was, like, tension and build up, and, you know, some of the things were resolved that I wanted to resolve. Like I said, the actual Raven King finding was a bit of a letdown. Like, you probably could have answered that question in book 1. Okay, that sucks. But
it's just, I felt taken advantage of.
Oh,
like,
no.
There were people's lives hanging in the balance over finding this dude.
Yeah.
And to just pull that ending out of your ass, I was like, you've got to be freaking kidding me. Clearly there's rage here.
Yes, there is a lot of rage.
I won't say anymore. We did a whole podcast about this if you want to know my feelings and theories, but it's just, I have a hard time separating a third book from the rest of the trilogy if it's really, really bad. Yeah. All right. I'll just leave it at that.
Is it my turn?
Yes.
My next one is 3 Dark Crowns by Kendare Blake.
This book is still getting hype.
Yeah.
This book is still being pushed, yeah.
My issue with this book is that there are 3 sisters vying to be the queen, and they all had the same voice. I could not tell each one apart.
That's a problem.
And all of their motives were dumb. They all wanted to run away. Usually there's one horrible one, and then there's I just want to be everyone's friend. No, they are all trying to run away. Nobody wanted to be queen. And then they're like this lame ass love story. And I'm just like, no. The people in the second part of the story, it's like there's a story, there's a B story. So there's a whole political intrigue behind what they're trying to do. So like these girls are basically pawns. And so the backstory of that part was great, but the actual sisters, I have yet to read a good Kendare Blake. She's a nice person. I've met her. She's awesome, but she's always one of those authors where she's almost there. She's got something good and then just falls. It just doesn't quite get there. So you keep reading her books hoping that maybe this is the book where she reaches the top, and then you're let down.
And I've never read anything by her, but just from being in the library / book industry, I feel like she's one of those authors that you either love or you really don't.
Yeah.
She's definitely middle of the road.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. My last book is The Girl from Everywhere.
Yeah.
And I think that this is more so because the book 2 is either just been published or is going to soon be published. So all of that kind of like hype is back right now, pushing this book. This is very similar to how you described that book. You know, she's got the potential. She's got the good story. She's got some social commentary there, but she just fails to send it through to greatness. It did have potential. It did have moments where I was like, this book is good, and then I was like, no, it's not. I don't know if she kind of fell prey to some of the things that I think authors feel like they need to have in their YA novels, like a romance, and there was a romance that she set up, and then it didn't really go anywhere, and then there was another romance that like 50% of the way through we're now supposed to be focusing on, and I was totally not feeling that.
No.
And there was just some development happening with the main character that I felt needed to be more consistent and actually resolve or, properly set it up for book 2, which she just didn't. So I won't be reading book 2. But Heidi Heilig is the one that wrote this book, and again, there was potential. It was decent, but it's overhyped for what actually is in the book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would totally agree. I think, I've read my share of time travel, and it can be rough. And I think the time travel aspect, at least in book 1, was... we are talking about book 1. Was decent. She's like, I got this map. You just hold up the map, and there you go. You don't need any more explanation, and I appreciate that. But like you said, she is one of those where she's got like it starts off they're in Turkey or something in like 1930, and she's running away, and it's got this this great atmosphere and world building around her, and the whole thing with her dad and her mom, and then somewhere in the end it got convoluted, and the whole second love story was like no.
Yeah.
Book 2 I did read after Elise told me not to, but I did anyway, and I should have listened to her. Oh, book 2 was oh man. So now, and I have to say this, I hope it's not a spoiler, but I don't care. So, the premise of the story is she has this map, and you can have any old map, and you can just like go to that place in the map. Oh no! Now, if you make up a land that's legend, but you believe it to be true, you can go there. See, now we're playing with rules. You can't just pull rules up out of your ass. Yeah. I was like, no, I can't get behind this. So,
and I don't feel like they resolved the conflict in book 1 to even try to pull something like that.
That's what a lot of people are saying. I couldn't get through it. I kind of like DNF'd it like 80% through. Mm-hmm. But a lot of people were saying that there were a lot of holes and it's a duology. Yeah. There is no book 3.
Oh, no.
So a lot of stuff was not answered.
Yeah, again, she is a very creative writer. She's got everything she needs to have a good book, but she needs either some stronger editors around her or just something to help her kind of
or something. Yeah. Maybe she needs her own mass or something. I
agree. Yeah, she needs to guide her. She needs something to really hone this book into a well-crafted tool. It's just not quite there yet. And yeah, I wasn't planning on reading book 2. That's kind of disappointing, but yeah, I mean, whatever. Overhyped.
Yeah. So my last one is probably going to be, a lot of people are probably going to be upset about it. But A Court of Mr. Fury. I love the Throne of Glass series. It is one of my favorite series. Queen of Shadows was one of my favorite books last year. I love it to death. But this other series, the first book I wasn't jazzed about. And the only reason why I read the second book is because I didn't like Tamlin, and I could tell that she was going to end up in Reese in book 2, which is what happens. But that book is all over the place, and I don't know what the plot is. That world is crazy town. And I think the only thing people are grabbing onto is the Reese-Feyre love. But that is not enough. I mean, the book is hot.
Not for the size of those books.
No. The love in that book is steamy. I'll give you that. But not enough. And I will not be reading book 3. I can't. Sorry.
I didn't like book 1 enough to really sit down and tackle book 2 because it's like 3 times the size of book 1. Mm-hmm. Will I eventually read it? Probably. Because I like a good steamy romance every now and again, and I did like Reese. I didn't really care for Tamlin. He was too, like, good boy with a bad past, and I'm just not into those kinds of characters. Either be good or be bad. Don't be, like, I'm straddling these two worlds. Well, you really ain't gonna
like book 2.
Whew, never mind. No, but yeah, that's like, I have this phrase that I say, it's a retirement book. That's a book I'll read when I'm retired and have all the time in the world. Game of Thrones is also on that list.
Oh, no.
But yeah, no, I can agree with that.
Yeah, that world. I mean, it was so much going on. It's like they finally have a focus, and then here comes this other villain, and that villain's gone, and it's got another villain behind that one, and I literally cannot remember. I mean, this is the House of Ed Nightmares, and the world of witchery, and the underground of Mama House, and I'm like, what is happening? What? I cannot keep up with this world. So...
And I feel like because it's Sarah J. Maas, they just let her leave it in there.
Yes.
It's like, just no.
Like, people will buy it, whatever.
I mean, they're right.
Yeah, but...
But dang.
So...
Don't take advantage of your readers like that. Yeah. All right.
That's all I got.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for joining us for our top 10 overrated books. Again, if you disagree with us, we'd love to know. Or if we missed anything, let us know in the comments. And we'll catch you in the next podcast.